Alright guys, another year, another spreadsheet for budget mountain bike buying. This year's range is about 500 to 3,000. Only the brands that I think are putting out compelling values, and only bikes that are in a one-buy format, as I think that's really important and one of the more annoying things to upgrade or change on a bike. I am thinking about adding an actual sort of written guide element to this eventually, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet. If you're trying to spend around 500, and if you're looking to go new, the only thing I can really recommend is the Schwinn Axum from Walmart, but realistically, you should be trying to get a used hardtail in a one-buy format on whatever used platform you prefer. Also, big news this year is issues with the Vitus and Ragley Corporation, that's Chain Reaction. They are either going out of business or they're going to have to look to get bought out by somebody because their parent company just abandoned them financially. So that's going to be real interesting. You know, on one hand, we may see basically clearance sales, which will be great for the budget buyers who are already having the pick of the litter this season with the way the industry is. Or it'll just be bad and maybe there won't be sales and the company will just sort of disappear. So obviously that's an issue for all these really nice Vitus bikes highlighted in blue that you might want to get. I would recommend looking into them, but just be worried that not only are you going to have potentially no warranty going forward, no company to respond to, there also might be some issues with the inventory and delivery as the company is kind of shifting everything around and trying to either close doors or reposition themselves. So considering Vitus and Ragley usually run the hardtail market, that's going to leave everything pretty wide open for Marin and Canyon and even Polygon to a certain extent. I mean, if I was Polygon, I would be expanding their sort of hardtail market right now given that situation. There are a couple new things coming on the market right now. GT is releasing these new budget full suspension bikes. They're not too compelling, but I think they're kind of interesting if you are someone who wants to buy through a store. I'm not sure if these are getting shipped out to stores or if they're trying to do online only, but obviously if you're kind of anti Polygon or something like that, these will be the most compelling full suspension options. Also, I think one of them comes with this new Shimano drivetrain that we kind of yet to understand in terms of performance. The CUES, and it's on a couple bikes. What else is on the Canyon Stoic as well. So we'll see how that goes over time. I wouldn't be surprised if it was quite good. Probably supposed to be just under Dior, and Dior has already been pretty good, so we'll see how that is. I guess it would technically compete with SRAM SX, and that would be likely a pretty easy competition for them. One of the bigger new things to come out is the Polygon Colossus N7. So they released that N9 Enduro bike, which was quite a good bike, quite a good build, but it was really heavy and it just made it less compelling for people who are trying to get maybe more of an all mountain or long travel trail bike. But now they're releasing this one with a slightly downgrade spec, and I mean only slightly downgrade spec. And it's at $2,000, and you're getting a RockShox Zeb, which would likely cost you about $1,000 new if you wanted to get a base Zeb out the box. So that's going to be a pretty compelling value. I watched the Flow MTB review on it, and they said about what you'd expect. It's actually a really great bike. It's crazy heavy, and it might not be, it's not going to be like a replacement for a trail bike. It might not be the best enduro bike, but for that money, I mean, you really just can't complain. That said, if weight is important to you, and you will be complaining about a bike that weighs nearly 40 pounds, is basically heavier than some downhill bikes, then I would recommend continuing to look up into the Polygon T8, the Mathik VRX if you're okay ordering through Vitus, and then that Marin Rift Zone is still a great build this year. And some more changes which will be beneficial to everybody with a budget-minded buyer is YT has kind of reorganized their lineup. And so now we have these Core 1 builds of the Capra and the Jeffsy at $2,700 and $2,800. and those are really good builds. And then when you go all the way up to 3,000, obviously you'll see we have spoiled for choices there. But the $3,000 Capras looks like an amazing deal. Obviously it's a $3,000 bike, so it might not be on everybody's sort of budget-minded choice there, but I mean, when you want to talk about value, that's a pretty insane value across the board. So as always, I'll link the spreadsheet in the description. Kind of want to write a written buying guide, but not sure exactly in what way to approach it, especially with so many changes this year. For people who want sort of a real short and fast of it, here on the right, I mean, I got all the, I don't know, I write some stuff to help you understand it, as well as the colors. But if you really just want to know what bike to buy, if you want a hardtail, I do recommend that Sentier VR. Just keep up to date with chain reaction and see how they're going about closing the store, because there might be some amazing Vitus Ragley deals coming up, and I wouldn't mind partaking in that. I'd like to get one of those Ragley Mbops or something. If you just want the cheapest full suspension and you aren't worried about weight, I mean, that Polygon N7 is just a good deal. It sucks that the frame and the wheels are so heavy. So if that's a concern for you, then I'd probably skip it. But you know, it's still a great bike, so I would recommend getting that. And of course, if that's too heavy for you, then just try to get that T8 instead. That'd be a great lighter, more trail bike oriented bike. And then of course, if you are looking at more like 3,000, especially with, I mean, when it comes to YT, I would check not only their sales, but they have sort of an outlet clearance part on their website. I would definitely check that. You might not be paying 3K, and getting that build for 3K or even under 3K is an amazing value all around. And that's just an amazing bike all around. Obviously, it's quite big, like the Polygon N7, but should be not quite as heavy, and in that mixed wheel format, it's going to be really well sorted geometry wise to do any kind of trails, whether it's just trail riding or you want to rip it down the bike park. And of course, I should also mention that this season, used bikes, you know, they've been returning from those COVID prices, and now they're almost at an all-time low. It's back to like over 50% off for the bikes you're looking at on your used platforms, Facebook, Pink Bike, OfferUp, etc. So I always recommend checking those out before you bite the bullet on any of these MSRP prices. So good luck sorting through all your listings, and I hope this spreadsheet helps you make sense of everything. And feel free to let me know how your experiences are going with Vitus and Ragley, because I wouldn't mind picking up some kind of hardtail this season for next year. But I definitely don't want to wait multiple months or pay a bunch of money for import fees and weird delivery and all that. So have fun, good luck, stay safe, and see you later.